Welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live, and it's the post-match reaction of Arsenal's 1-0 defeat to Everton. It's their second loss of the season, only the third time this season they've managed to drop, or the fourth time they've dropped points this season. It's a disappointing one. I'm joined by Steve K. What's your thoughts on the game, Steve?
Yeah, right. How are you doing, everybody out there? Look, I mean, it was disappointing. No doubts about that. I mean, the players just couldn't seem to get going from the off. Really, I mean, we've got to give Everton, a lot of credit for today. They deserved their win. I can't say that they didn't deserve the win. They did. But we was off it. We was off it from, especially in the midfield and up front. There was nothing. There wasn't. I didn't feel any point where I felt that we was going to cause them problems. It didn't look like we was really going to score. It was a real bad day of the office. And, no one could seem to take hold of the game and take it to Everton. But I've got to give Everton credit. They stifled us. They stopped us from playing. And you've got to give them that. I feel the fan reaction after the game's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm trying to look for it because I've seen a lot of people saying calm down, but I can't find it anywhere. I'm trying to find some examples, but it seems like a lot of people are trying to blame Jorginho, which is not a surprise.
Sorry?
It's not a surprise that they're trying to blame Jorginho.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter whether Jorginho had a weldy today and the rest of the team were stinkers. There was still a section of fans that would have just blamed Jorginho just because it's Jorginho.
Yeah. It's those fans who are like, they're still there, aren't they? There's that still that element of Arsenal fan who's there, who's waiting for us to lose.
Yeah, definitely.
And as soon as they do, they'll be out with knives. But I think the majority of the Arsenal fan base now knows, where we are, and this was just a bad day at the office. Anybody would think that top clubs don't get beat by smaller clubs in a season. It's like, do people watch football over the years, or are they watching some other sport? Because whether it's Man City, Liverpool, Barcelona, when they're at their utmost best, you will find in the season where they will get beat by someone second or third bottom. Yeah. So I really don't get the attack at Arsenal, because I could really just embarrass people by just whacking loads of results but on Twitter and saying, well, but there's no use because you can't get through to people. It was a bad day at the office. It wasn't good. It wasn't a great performance. We do have to do better, and we have to get back to winning ways against Brentford next week. But yeah, I mean, Everton played war, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good day for us. Too many players were off it today, and we just couldn't get going.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. Look, although I don't think we were great, I do think Everton were very good in the way that because anyone can have that manager about. We knew what Everton were going to bring under Sean Dyche, and they brought it 100%. They didn't let off one bit. That was an A grade for the level of a Sean Dyche performance that they can bring.
Yeah,
they were snappy in the challenges. They were aggressive, but not over the top. I feel like if it was someone like Ben Godfrey was playing or something like that, you probably would have got someone with a broken leg or studs across the face like we've seen before. But it weren't that. They were aggressive in the tackle. They were intense, and they were everything that Everton haven't been under Frank Lampard. And And there were times today where Arsenal really trying to get their passes together. There was some nice, quick movements, but for me, it was in the final third. Whether it was the final pass or if it was the chance to take the shot, that's where it was for me. It just weren't there, and that's not to pinpoint players like Nketiah or Saka or Martinelli. I just think the decision making when it came to that final third, whether it was from the midfield as well, that final ball just weren't there. And in these sorts of games, you have to be clinical. Even if you're not going to beat your best in these sorts of games, you have to be clinical in these games as well, because it starts to get frustrating for the players, starts to get frustrating for certain positions, and the pressure builds on the defence. And it's inevitable that a team like Everton were gonna get a goal in the end, because it was clear they were looking to hit us on the break. Looking for corners, because that's where they're dangerous at, and they got that corner and they got that goal in the end. So
yeah. I don't know if we could have had a penalty. I mean, I'd like to see that again.
I think it was a penalty. I was screaming for a penalty.
And then you got that idiot Peter Walton who always comes out, but they give it as not a penalty. So, but we've seen enough VAR decisions and ref decisions to know now, and we've watched enough football to know what a penalty is and what ain't. And that looked like a penalty to me. I still don't think we deserve to win the game, even if that was a penalty. So
no,
it's not an excuse, to say we should have won. We shouldn't have won. We should have lost today, and we did lose.
Yeah.
But there was no players to blame as such, because there wasn't. All right, there was a few standout performances, I thought, but overall everybody was off it. Than the same. So yeah.
All right, let's get on to the player ratings. So Aaron Ramsdale stay.
Yeah, I thought Ramsdale, played well. I thought he didn't really do much wrong. I think maybe once in the first half his distribution was off, but other than that, his distribution was good. He made quite a few good saves, and he was quite commanding when the ball came into the box. So I felt Ramsdale had just an overall a decent game. So yeah, give him a 7, probably a high 7. Touching an 8, but I give him 7.
All right, Ramsdale with a 7.
I mean, it could be an 8, mate, because he actually made some very good saves in that first half. We could have gone down. We could have gone down at half time, like 2-0 or something. So he did play quite a good game, Ramsdale.
Yeah, he made that save, that deflection shot, which came down from Calvert-Lewin, which was a good one. Gabriel Magalhaes.
Mate, he's the guys. This was man of the match for me for Arsenal today. Again, I've got this habit recently of really, when I watch a football match, I'll try and watch everyone as much as I could. But this guy, I thought was outstanding today. We talked about Saliba being that Rolls Royce defender. I mean, I think this guy you could put into that category as well. He's just so cool on the ball. Them times where he used to be a bit rash on the ball and he used to give the ball away and his passes were off, he just doesn't do that anymore. Doesn't do that. He's calm, he's collective, he's quick, he's paced. He gets the balls first. When he looks like he's trouble, he seems to get out of it all the time. And I don't remember him making a mistake in the whole match. For me, he was a standout performer today for Arsenal. So yeah, I think he's the best defender in the league right now, and I can't think of anyone better. I really can't think of anybody better than him at the minute. So I'll give him an 8.
8 for Gabriel.
He's just majestic. He's becoming such a good player. It's really exciting.
William Saliba.
Yeah, I thought William Saliba was a little bit He's at times, but again, I don't think the centre backs had let us down today. I thought both centre backs were really good. I thought they both played well. I don't know what happened with the goal. I don't know what Odegaard was doing marking Tarkowski, and I mean I don't know how that happened.
I've got no. It started with Saka marking him, and then Odegaard was marking him. It didn't make sense because we had Ben White, who was marking the front near the front post. Jacko was marking near the front post, and Tarkowski was at the back and being marked by a winger and a number 10. It just made no sense. There was no organisation there whatsoever.
There wasn't. I mean, it seemed that again, Saliba and Gabriel did their jobs because, like, one of them was on Calvert-Lewin, who had to be marked because he's probably one of the best aerial players in the league, and also I think Gabriel was on Onana, and he's massive.
Yeah.
So you're looking at someone like Ben White to mark him, or Xhaka to mark him, or someone like that. So how Odegaard got there? Yeah, no organisation. But obviously, I thought he played well. I thought he done good. As I say, no problem with him. I give him a 7.
Yeah, I felt he got. I felt Decore got the slip of him early doors when he had that free header. I just don't think he knew where Decore was at that point. Ben White.
Yeah, not. I didn't think it was one of Ben's greatest games today. I think you can put that down to, Everton again. He very rarely he got forward. I think he got forward once in the first half. As we was just mentioning, he could have been the one who maybe could have picked up Tarkowski. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I didn't see much of Ben today. Thing that stands out to me was, he gave the ball away in the first half. That could have cost us. So yeah, I give Ben a 6 today.
No, he wasn't good today. He was off it.
Yeah.
There was a through ball that was dropped from, I think it was Saka, which he should have got on it, but his run wasn't continuing his run. He kind of hesitated a bit, which then he couldn't get the ball. No, he weren't good against Man United, and this might be just a little patch in the season where it's his first bit of bad form. We'll see.
Yeah, 5 is fair actually.
So 5. Yeah, sorry.
No, I just say, please, I'd like to hear what you think as well, mate. But but it's like it could have been a 5 for Ben today. Yeah, and maybe possibly it may be time for him to have a little break and bring Tommy Asu in, who's
it's definitely an option. The options are there. And it's about keeping the players at their top level. So if we're seeing, we don't want to take a player out as soon as he has a bad game or there's a blip. But if you see it in the second game, it might be worth taking them out just to give them a bit of a rest, to recharge their batteries. We've still got a long season.
I mean, I thought for most parts of the game, I thought he was excellent. I thought he's passing out. I mean, I ain't got really, apart from Ben didn't have a good game, apart from like the players at the back line, I really didn't have too much problem with. It was once he got to the centre of the pitch and in the final third that the problem started to happen. But I thought Zinchenko was very good. Mm-hmm. I thought he was very good in the first half. He playing the ball, bringing it through midfield, getting forward. He started to get a little bit erratic towards the end of the game. I thought. He was a couple of shots that were just way off, and he was starting getting a little bit erratic with other players. He was doing quite stupid fouls at times.
He was getting involved. Yeah, I think his head went.
Yeah, his head went. He did. So until that little 10-minute period, he was a 7. You know, because then you went to this erratic stage. So should I drop him a mark and give him a 6 for that? For the 10 minutes, I'm not gonna. I'm still gonna give him the 7 because I thought he was very good up to then. I thought he was very good. So I keep him at 7, but he did get very erratic in that last 15 minutes.
So what are you giving him?
I give him a 7. I think it'd be unfair to drop him a point, but yeah.
Thomas Partey came off at about the 56, around the 60th minute mark.
60th minute, yeah. Not Thomas's greatest of days. He's again a little bit sloppy at times. 1 minute he looked good, and the next minute he didn't. He didn't control the midfield as much as what I've seen him do, in recent weeks, as we know he can. Again, like a lot of the Arsenal players, it just wasn't working for him today. It just wasn't working. And I think, pulling him off after 60 minutes, I don't know for what reason that is, whether it was an injury, whether he just felt that, he needed the rest. But yeah, I'm going to give him just a standard 6.
Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, again, look, very, very similar. Do you know, it wasn't the Granit Xhaka that we know. He obviously always tries, didn't he, Granit Xhaka? I mean, he was getting into areas at times, but the balls that he normally plays through the channels wasn't there for him today. Again, I have to say that it's a lot of that was down to Everton. It was. There's not many things you can bring out with players today where you can actually think of something that where they did, because they was just stifled so much in the midfield. They was soon as any of our Arsenal players got the ball, they was on them, and Xhaka, they was on them, and Partey, they was on them. Whether they can do that every week, Everton, I don't know. But we always seem to have an hard time when we go to Everton. Mm. But I think for probably, again, it's because of the performances today and the marks. Some just sneaks a 6, and some probably touching 7. So it's a bit. Jack was probably one of the ones that was touching 7, but I'm still going to give him a 6.
Martinelli.
No, I just thought he was. He tries. I just didn't think there was nothing happening from David. Every time he got the ball, he had 3 players on him, and he was just swamped. I don't think he was trying to get down the lines at points and running it out of play at times. Then he was getting boxed in on them. He just couldn't move. He was having 2-3 players on him, and I can't remember too many times where we got round the back of the defenders or he got a shot off. His work rate, he always tries, Martinelli, but again, may have been another reason why he could have been taken off. But again, just stifled out the game. Everton just did that to our team today. I don't like giving people 5, but again, he was a little bit anonymous through the match. So, but yeah, I just a standard 6.
All right, 6 for Martinelli. He didn't get in the game really. He looked energetic at the start of it, but he was trying to get down the byline, couldn't get his balls in the cutbacks, so nothing really came off there, and then he kind of sort of fizzled out the game. Martinelli.
Yeah, again, it's like keep repeating myself. He just couldn't get going, could he? He just wasn't. Even from the off, mate. Even from the off, you just thought you had a feeling that it wasn't going to be his day. from like first few 2 or 3 touches, we seem to keep going. Even our offensive players today kept passing it backwards, and I haven't seen that all season. That must have been really infuriating for Arteta. It was infuriating for me watching the game, but Odegaard was a little bit guilty of that. I mean, he came into that more into in the second half, where he was a little bit more, was getting hold of the ball further up the pitch. But really, there was nothing came from anything that he did. And the shots, he had a couple of shots which were poor, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Skying them. So I don't like to give our team 5s today, but there is quite a few players, 2 or 3 players I could give a 5. Again, I'll just give him a standard 6, anonymous in the game, but just standard 6 for. Then again, if I'm giving Xhaka a 6, and then you think was Odegaard wasn't as good as Xhaka, so do you give him a 5? So it's very, sometimes when you're thinking about doing your marks, but then you think, well, I can't give Xhaka a 7. He weren't that good, so it's like plays in your mind a bit. But yeah, I'm going to have to do the low ones today. He was a low 6. He was touching a 5, but I'm going to have to give him a 5 because he wasn't involved. I'll have to give him a 5 because he wasn't as good as Xhaka.
Saka.
Yeah, I mean, look, he always looks dangerous, didn't he? You feel he can get behind the backs. You feel he can do something, and a few times he did. His final ball weren't great today, but again, very similar to in the cup game against Man City. He was like, sort of stopped by the young Ukrainian kid Mikalenko. I mean, he did really well on him. But saying that again, he had help because every time Saka got the ball, there was 2 or 3 of them on him. That was obviously the game plan from Dice. But Saka's got to get used to this because that's what's going to happen to him every game of the season now. They're going to have 2 or 3 players around him. But again, it wasn't his greatest of days. They give him a 6.
6 Saka. Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, again, wasn't in the game much really today. Done a lot of work. Had a chance in the first half, which he really could have done better with. So, but he did well to get into the channel and into the position to get the shot off.
Yeah, that turn. That's a lovely turn from that.
It was.
That's what I think Arteta sees in Eddie in training, especially those little things you can't really are very hard to learn. It was a great turn. The step forward that just takes the defender away, moves him off his, unbalances him, and then to turn.
Yeah.
And he just needs to be more composed there. He didn't need to go for the power. He just needs to be composed there. And I feel like he would have scored because it was just, he'd done everything right. And he didn't really get much after that in the game as well. So that's a
disappointing.
It
is.
It's a learning curve for him because at this level, some games you might get 1 chance, 2 chances, and he needs to just be a bit more. I think if the goalkeeper saves it, it's a different question. But where he's not even put it on target, I think he'd be kicking himself there.
Yeah, he wanted to work the goalkeeper. And another thing he could have done, he could have even looked. It was a difficult angle, and maybe he could have, crossed it, just laid it across. Because I think Martinelli was, going like that, putting his hands up in the middle, calling for it, and he was quite disappointed that he never got the cross into the middle there because he would have just had to tap that home. But yeah, it's a learning curve for Eddie. As I say, still young. Yeah, I mean, and in the second half as well, you talk about the turn. There was a bit in the second half where he's absolutely scanned two of them on the left there, and absolutely ducked inside and used his pace and just gone past them like they weren't there. And then he crossed it for Odegaard, who skied it. So that was excellent, and all from Eddie. That was a great bit of play. But they're probably the only two bits of things that he did in the game. But again, nothing to do with Eddie. It was, we were stifled and stopped by Everton. But yeah, I give Eddie a 6. I give Eddie a 6.
Eddie is 6. Tomiyasu.
Yeah, I think when Tomiyasu come on, he shored it up a bit. He does look a little bit. He looks a little bit more on it than probably what White did. So yeah, just like standard 6 for Tomiyasu. He may even get a start next week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Possibly.
Yeah, I think he might. He might. Trossard.
Nah. He was. I didn't think he got in the game at all when he come on. I thought he somebody. I think he had one shot, pulled a decent one off the goal, decent save off the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
A couple of times he should have played off the ball when he didn't. His crossing was a little bit poor, but again, look, he wasn't as bad. He wasn't as poor as bad, because the Everton defenders on their right side, were just doubling up. And Dice really got into them and told them what they wanted to do. They literally said, you can't go 1-on-1 on Arsenal. You can't go 1-on-1. So they had to put 2 or 3 players on them. And to be fair to them, they did. But I think Trossard, it wasn't the greatest of substitute performances like the one from last week. But he'll come again. He's an excellent player. So I'll give him a 5.
5 for Trossard. Jorginho.
Yeah, I mean, again, typical overreaction from fans who, for me today on Jorginho, came on for the last half hour into an absolute lion's den and expected him to change the match when you've got when the rest of them on the pitch, who, let's face it, are much more likely to, couldn't. So I don't know what fans expect. What Jorginho as a DM is going to come and do for 30 minutes. I think it's quite ridiculous, to be honest with you. And people what they're saying on Twitter and stuff like that should take a look at themselves, because for me, you can't judge Jorginho on 30 minutes, and sadly that's what some fans do, Kears, isn't it? He's came on for 30 minutes into a lion's den and expected him to be Thomas Partey, and he isn't.
Yeah, so, but I also think that Jorginho wasn't as bad as what people were saying. Like, I think people there was one pass where it was massively underhit Jorginho, yeah. But there was also some really nice bits of intricate play where he was 3 men around him and he's just got it out of his feet and passed it out. There was a nice little 30, 40 yard diag. He got it a couple of times and won the ball. Like, people are talking absolute nonsense. They're talking nonsense. And actually, I've just seen someone's put up a video of everything that Jorginho did today, and I've just watched it. And there's no way people can go under that and say, actually, no, he did right. In fact, I'm going under it, and people are saying solid performance. He actually did okay. Everyone needs to be a bit more positive. That wasn't actually a bad game.
Exactly.
I've gone in with a mindset that Jorginho's rubbish, he's slow. Arsenal have lost. They've seen a poor pass here. maybe an underhit pass there. They've gone, he's giving it away. He's too slow. He's slowed down the midfield. It's an easy win for people. It's an easy win. Go and watch the little highlight reel that someone's done of every single Jorginho touch. Yeah, you're talking rubbish, people. You're talking rubbish.
It's the same. It's the same. It's the same thing, Kears, as people make their assumptions about a player, and they make their view on them, right? So what people do, then they look for the slightest little thing of what a certain player does wrong. They haven't got hot eyes to look at the rest of the game or the rest of what happened. They see this one pass, just like Granit Xhaka, when everybody was looking for the one pass, right? And in the end, they've all got sussed out, right? For the player he is. And they'll get sussed out again. And they'll get embarrassed again. Because people don't look. You know, these are people who just don't know, who can't see, who are just looking. And, you know, I love to be proved wrong. When I say something about a player who I don't agree with, I want to be able to come out and say, God, I was wrong, buzzing. But there's these players in their heads who will make an assumption and then will just can't get it out of their heads. Jorginho will go on and win the Player of the Year this season, and it wouldn't matter. Yeah. It wouldn't matter to him. Blind. Granit Xhaka could go on and do the same. The Xhaka haters wouldn't matter. Always the same. They'd always be there, and it's a shame. But like you said, he never done anything wrong. Well, he made a couple of passes, yeah. But that happens every week. But it's really frustrating, and I'm getting quite annoyed by it. Probably, as you can tell by my voice, because you know we're sitting top of the league here, and you're getting Arsenal fans coming out trying to look for faults because they didn't want him to be signed. Yeah. You know, and it's sad, very sad. But good luck to him. You know, if that's what they want to be. But again, he was better than Trossard when he came on. So I've been giving him a 5. He gets a 6.
All right.
They will never learn that, will they? These people, though.
No, Steve. What it is they make the most noise when they've got a bit of backing, when we lose or something like that, and then when it gets proved wrong, they just disappear. All they've got to do is they change their profile picture, they change their screen name. They ain't got to change their account. No one looks at the app. They just look at the screen and the profile picture, and they're a different person. So, like, the same people will back it. Like, the same people will who are right now are saying, look, you need to calm down. It's an overreaction, blah, blah. They're not going to change their names because when good times and bad, they will still give their opinion. But it's the other ones that just like to delete accounts because they've gone so strong when Arsenal are on a bad run, and they're so they speak in absolutes and they talk like it's 100% true when it's not, and they try and make you sound stupid or look stupid if you disagree with them. Idiots. What's this, Mr. E? I've not seen Mr. E before. What's he saying? Listen, the new manager game. Are hard, has a different spirit. Arsenal obviously want the 3 points, but it wasn't it. Jorginho is a great signing. Adam, are you doing that?
Well done, mate.
Every football team has it when they win, and it's the best. Are the best, and when they lose, they want blood. Yeah, yeah, and this is coming from a Millwall fan, so he knows exactly what it's like when it's bad. So yeah. Bit of common sense there.
Just people like one minute they're great, next minute they're good. But with these type of people, no matter how great they are, or how good they are, or how the whole country would perceive something, these people will not see it. and like you, and even though when you turn around and say, but the whole country says it, everybody sees it. They get this, they get told that. Everybody sees a great signing. Everybody's been saying he's playing brilliant. They're like, I can't see it. And you're like, oh, okay. You can never win. You'll never win.
Yeah, I know. Vieira.
I thought he did all right when he come on. I thought he looked quite lively. Yeah, I thought he looked lively. Give him a 6. Because 6, he started to get when he walked with Odegaard today. I said I don't know what was the matter with Odegaard today, but he wasn't. He didn't seem to be helping Saka out at all on that right hand side. He normally does. They're normally doing this 1-2s and they're making, and then bop, and then Odegaard plays him into the channels after they're doing the like. But when Vieira come on, it was like he seemed a little bit more livelier over that right hand side. He seemed to be joining in and helping Saka out a bit more. And I was looking at that, and his passing was quite good today for the amount of time he was on. So yeah, subs. If I'm giving Trossard a 5, it's difficult to mark today because of it's one of them ones where nobody did great, and some have done that little bit better than the other, but you can't really give them the same mark. But yeah, I mean, look, as for a subs performance, 6, he did all right.
Yeah.
He'll come good, Vieira, I think, mate. He will come good. He really will.
Vieira. He, like I said before, he always gets into good positions. It was a tough game for him to come in today against the Everton side away from home. Would you give him
6? But but again, Everton, it's like with football, we know clubs have their places they go to, but they just can't win.
Yeah.
Man City do. Liverpool do. United do. Man City do. Everybody has places they go where they just don't get a result. It's weird and it's but it's true. It's a mystery of football. But for some reason, you struggle. Wolves, Liverpool normally struggle. Look today, it happens. It's a weird thing. But it seems that when Arsenal do it, it's a big story, but yeah.
Same old. Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta. Yeah, I mean, team. You obviously got the team right. I don't blame him today for anything. I think he's done substitutions were right. He tried things. I just think going back to the beginning. I just really think. Everton were fantastic today. I thought they was really good. Do I think they'll keep it up? I don't know. I'm not just because they did this today. I'm not going to say they're going to stay up or Dyche is going to turn it around, because at the end of the day, I look at their players and they're still quite ordinary. But today, they was on it. They're always on it against Arsenal, like we just said. But I'll give Arteta. We lost the game. We didn't get a clean sheet, but so he'll be disappointed. But I'll give him a 7 because, as I say, I don't think he really could have done anything wrong. I just think it was a very, very good performance by Everton, and it was just a bad day at the office for Arsenal, where they couldn't get going. So give him a 7.
7. Yeah, that is it for the players. So for Steve, for all those people losing their head, Brentford next. What was your final thoughts before we end?
Bad day at the office, mate. I ain't got no worries. It happens. I've seen I've seen too many football matches. I've been in too many title races. Even when the Invincibles, I remember games like this where, we played teams third, second bottom from the league, and we were struggling and come away with draws and things like that. In '98, the same thing, and it happens. And I've seen it, so it's not a problem. A 1-0 win, lose away from Everton, I'm not worried. One little bit, and Arsenal fans shouldn't be either. We've been outstanding this season. We're the best team in the Premier League, not by a long way, because on their day, Man City are a special team. But yeah, I mean, it's still probably a title race between Arsenal and Man City. Who will win it? I don't know. We'll probably get more of an idea as there's still 18 games to go. But look, let's just get behind the boys. As I say, bad day at the office. And let's get into Brentford, get back at the Emirates, and and let's see what they can do there. And I'm sure we'll come away with a win against Brentford. If we lose there, I mean, or we lose the game or get a draw, then you may be thinking a bit worrying. But over the season, I think we've always said that there'll be a time in the season like this. But
yeah, remember this is only one game.
Yeah, exactly.
We're yet to have a blip where it's back to back yet.
That's what people were saying. Though. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's happening. Oh,
come on.
Oh, there's a blip. What's happening? Arsenal.
Come on. We made 6 changes in the FA Cup against Man City and lost 1-0 on a Friday evening at the Etihad. Like, are people completely ignoring these extra little nuances that occur? We didn't lose to a team in League One or the Championship, or even a team that's in the lower half of the Premier League in the FA Cup. We didn't have a full strength squad out. We lost to the current champions, arguably the best team in Europe, 1-0 on a day in the FA Cup. Like that, you can't count that as that's 2 games in the trot lost by Arsenal. The spiral is coming. Like, I know there's a lot of people hoping and praying it happens, but I just don't believe it is. I don't believe that performance was so abject that it was to the degree that people are losing their heads about. Like, I've seen performances like, if we're talking about Southampton last season, we weren't great, yeah, and we should have won the game, and they weren't great, yeah, but we didn't get anything out of it. Rubbish performance. This was not as bad as that. I see us lose to Tottenham. We were awful. This was nowhere near as bad as that. I've seen us. We lost to Newcastle in London. This was nowhere near. That was worse than this. Sorry, is what I mean. They were all worse than this today. This is not the worst performance I've seen Arsenal play. This is just the worst performance they've had this season. But remember, we've lost 1 game this season and drawn 2. So to say that this is the worst performance, all right, it's the worst loss we've had out of the 2. It's not that bad, people. So please, don't lose your head. But I do, honestly, just going through online quickly, I do think it's just the people that just shout loud enough. And because they've been stifled for so long, their cronies and their burner accounts have all jumped online to shout loud and then agree with themselves. So, yeah, it's the majority of people are all saying it's 1 loss, don't lose your heads. And then with the people with the talk of Jorginho playing rubbish, Arsenal Daily has posted all of every touch Jorginho had in the game, and saying he's actually had a good performance. So, and I think he's put that out because of people's reactions to Jorginho.
But the football connoisseur will see that. The football connoisseur will see that.
They all go quiet on that post, though. That's the thing. When people put out facts and evidence, it goes silence.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating because, I mean, as you said, we got beat by Manchester United, played well, and we drew against Southampton. What happened? But what happened straight after them games?
Chelsea.
What was that? What was their reaction after them games by the team?
Yeah, like
absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
So why are people coming out? So we lost against Man United and we drew against Southampton, right? So I've got trust in Mikel Arteta. So after this game, I ain't going to go online and say, "Oh no, what's going to happen?" I know what's going to happen. at this moment in time, I know what's going to happen, right? I know Mikel Arteta's going to get into them and they're going to come out against Brentford and we're going to blow them away because that's what we've done all season when we've had a dodgy football match. That's what we've done. And people were saying that, that you lost against Man City as well. We had 6 changes against Man City. It's the FA Cup. We're playing Man City away. Stop it. Stop it. You know, because you can't compare things like that. Just don't. Why people go online and start getting panicking or saying things and I've seen people ever going at Edu on the line. Oh, Edu should be sacked. You know, he should be. He should have got someone else in the window. We tried to get people in the window, right? We tried to get Casido in, right? Brighton didn't want to sell him. Brighton did not want to sell him. You can't just go there and say they could give him 100 million. He's still not for sale. You're not having him. You know, I don't know what people think. Jorginho was nothing to do with Casido's sale. If we would have bought Jorginho was coming in, from what I'm told, anyway. So all these comparisons, Jorginho was 10 million. You know, we was prepared to pay 70. Don't tell me that's instead of him. It's embarrassing. People got to think. But yeah, we move on, mate. No worries at all for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, everyone's disappointed today, but as we've been saying, do not lose your head. What's Adam saying quickly? Please. How is Vieira looking this season? Not watched him much, but he looked like a quality prospect. Yeah, I know. I think we did. You had like 100 million to spend on Man United players, and Garth picked Fabio Vieira before Arsenal bought Fabio Vieira because of his stats from last season. And he looks like a good prospect, Garth. He needs work, but he's one of those players who was just in the right place at the right time. Very much, I can see him very much being a type of player to a Bruno Fernandes in times to come. He's got a long way to go, trust me, but he's got a lot of very good attributes in his game. Exciting times for Arsenal with all these young players. Saka is unreal. Saka is the best player in the league right now. Also come down to push and pass the lane. You know, City can when they're at their best. Yeah, no, City. So that's the thing. City, they turn the screw. They switch it on, and they can go on a long run towards the end of the season. So that's why Arsenal need to make sure that they can dust themselves off from these games and come back strong in the next one. And they've got to just put this aside and not think about it and not dwell on it.
Yeah. I mean, Man City after Brentford, isn't it?
Exactly. So we've got to get the points against Brentford and then go into Man City at home and try and get.
I'll tell you what. Tottenham could do them tomorrow.
Yeah, I wouldn't try and rely on Tottenham to do anything for Arsenal. And stop cheering on Tottenham. Yeah, there's one thing cheering the result of Tottenham beating Man City, but there's another thing watching the game and cheering every goal and then seeing them bloody lose. Don't do that to yourself.
That's not good.
Don't cheer Tottenham on. They go 2-0 up, and then you've got to sit there and watch them lose 4-2. Just wait until the result finish.
That's one thing I'd never do. The biggest mistake. When I'm watching the game, never comment. Never go in any WhatsApp groups. Never go online. If you're 2-0 up at first half, I've seen people in WhatsApp groups go, "Yeah, we're in a good game. We went brilliant," and then you get pulled back and you lose 3-2. You look like an idiot.
I was just having a debate with someone after the game. I said, "Stop cheering on Tottenham." It's like, look, if Tottenham take points off Man City, look, well, you're not going to be happy. That's not my point. My point is, you cheering on Tottenham is not the way forward because they went on to lose.
No.
You just cheered 2 Tottenham goals for no reason. Whereas if you waited until the end of the game and then seen the result and Tottenham won, you could have gone, and in one go, got it out your system. You just cheered on Tottenham. But that's not what you're cheering. You're cheering that Man City have lost. Instead, you cheered on Tottenham goals, which didn't matter. Fix up, all right? You know how to do it tomorrow.
Just watch it. If they score, just think, right, okay, that's good. Okay, that's nice. Right. They're 1 up, but long way to go. And then just watch the game. And then at the end, then
Exactly.
If you want to just go, nice one, Spurs, nice one. Go do one.
I know why you remember this one, Ad. I know why you remember, because we were working together when this happened. When Tottenham were 3-0 up, Ferguson at half-time supposedly turned around and said, this is Tottenham. And they came back and won it 5-3. We remember that one. It was in the kitchen, I remember. All right.
I remember that. I remember that game.
Yeah. Make sure you join us on Tuesday. If you are regular to the show, hit that like and hit that share button. Just press the copy. If you are new to the show, press that like, press that subscribe, and press that copy as well. Make sure you join us every Tuesday at 8 o'clock on KS1 TV. Make sure, make sure you remember to join us on Tuesday. We've got plenty to talk about. Obviously, the disappointment from this game, maybe some results going our way this weekend, so we can cheer them on. But we will see. All right, peace out, people. Oh, thanks for joining us, Steve. Of course.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right, peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.